My name is Jacqueline, and for this year's science project, I created biodegradable shopping bags. So I'm gonna skim through the slideshow. If you want to like pause it, you can. Want to see what's going on? This is my abstract. Again, if you want to pause it, you can just do that. Here are the materials I used for this is only for the final design. I'll explain the materials I used for the other designs when I get to them. So for the prototype, I used 20 grams of baking soda, 150 grams of potato starch, and 30 milliliters of glycerin and 350 milliliters of room temperature water. So like I would, mix everything, pour half into the mold, and I baked it at 375 degrees Fahrenheit for 45 minutes, and every 35 minutes I would use an oven mitt to press the bubbles down. When I take it off the oven, I put it in the freezer for 10 minutes, then place it on a dry wooden surface. Then I put the same thing in the other half of the mixture. So it was done, like I placed both ends, try to stick everything together. When I woke up the next morning, so it was like 24 hours later, everything was separated, so I just sewed them together in the end, just using cotton thread. So like this is what happened after a few days later. So like it was like it was really small. So it was like yeah, I couldn't really test them how much weight it could hold. But it was thick and flexible, which I really liked about that. But after a few days of being on my desk, it got really stiff. So I put it in both water to soften it up, but I left it in longer than I wanted to. Then like when I took it out, it was really like fragile. So I ended up ripping it by accident. So I left it on my desk for like a few days, try to like fix it maybe. But then like it was really completely dried out, like, and it was like cracking. This is what happened. The redesign is right here. Um, so I used 50, it had like a really rough feeling and I feel like baking soda when you're touching it. So I added 50 grams of baking soda to the beaker along with 175 grams of potato starch and mix it thoroughly. Use 30 milliliters of glycerin and 400 milliliters of boiling hot water. But like the actual like I used same thing for there, except I put it for 10 minutes, same intervals. I put it in the freezer for 20 minutes. The same step of half the mixture. Then I let it dry for 28 hours before I sewed it. Then I cut a hole in the middle. This is how it looks like. So because I used hot water, it came like more of a slime paste texture. I did that, so it was a lot harder to work with. But I put it in a blender, and it made everything so much easier to use after that. That's how it was before opening oven. You can see like the little chunks probably. Yeah, I was not able to fix that, but it ended up looking a lot better than I was hoping. So it was able to withstand a weight of 1.9 pounds or 85 sorry 0.85 kilos before ripping. So let's have pictures of it. The bronze line is right here. So it was 8.5 by 9 inches. I used 25 grams of baking soda, 175 grams of pale starch. I mixed 25 milliliters of glycerin and 400 milliliters of warm water. Then I put it instead of like putting in for 375 degrees, I put it in for 300 degrees. So when it burned, I put it in for 30 minutes with 5-minute intervals. During the intervals, I sometimes added more of the mixture in just to stop it from like one side being thinner or thicker than the other. Then I also put it in the freezer for 30 minutes. Then I let it dry for 24 hours before I sew it together. Then I cut a small hole right here, 2 inches from the opening of the bag, right there. So like I tested it with like food and like toolbox. I used a toolbox that was 0.91 kilos, and it did not rip at all. Then I used 2 kinds of biscuits, and I used 3 apples. Also did not rip any of the tests. Like I can't remember like measure how many apples weigh, but like it was not really hard to use. It was pretty nice to actually use. But it wasn't as flexible as I hoped it would be. So like here's some pros and cons about it. It dissolves in 16 days. It's safe for if children ingest it, and it's not a choking hazard. At the cons, where it's not very flexible, it was lightweight, and it cost $1.55 to make, but it would be cheaper depending on what materials you buy. I'm hoping with more research I could actually make it better though. So like here's some pictures, I guess. 'Cause I actually put it in the microwave at first. Here when it's separated, probably when it's burnt, the mixture, just look at how it works. So this is the bag again, opening, and this is my project.